I've had a lot of video requests recently, which is a good thing because I want to make videos that people are interested in watching. And 3 or 4 different people have asked me to discuss this one. Joseph Parker versus Anthony Joshua. Now, as boxing fans, we understand that this fight is a long way off happening. Put simply, the risk-reward is not there for either of these fighters until there's huge money or world championship belts on the line. So I'm not suggesting this fight will happen for many years. And when the fight does happen, the fighters may have changed, developed, matured. The result could be different. But I'm discussing this from the perspective of January 2015, with Joseph Parker at 22 years old, with him being 12-0, with 10 knockouts, and with Anthony Joshua being 25 years old, 10-0, with all of his fights coming by early knockouts. Now, at this stage, I guess you could say there's some similarities. They're both big guys. I think Joshua is slightly heavier. Joshua is probably 2 or 3 inches taller, but they're both very, very big guys. They're both outstanding amateurs. They're both undefeated. They're both known as huge punchers. And they're at a similar stage of their career. I mean, I think BoxRec has Joshua at 21 and Parker at 24. So they're at a sort of similar level in terms of the amount of fights. The calibre of opposition that they've been in with is, similar-ish. And it's an interesting discussion. If they got fought today, what do I see the advantages being on each side? Who do I think is going to win? Let's start with Anthony Joshua. The positives for Anthony Joshua in this fight. Joshua's a guy who uses range. Arguably his main weapon is a jab. He's got a very, very good jab that has really improved throughout his first 10 fights. It's still more robotic than I'd like, but when I saw him turn pro, I thought he was really heavy, really robotic, quite plodding. The jab has improved a lot throughout the course of his first fights. It's got a nice elasticity to it now. It's harder, it's faster, it's snappier. There's a lot to like about it. Joshua's also absolutely steamrollered his opposition. Multiple first, second round knockouts. He's never been beyond 3 rounds, I think. And there's that kind of aura of invincibility behind him at present. Nobody could even hang with this guy for 2 or 3 rounds. He hasn't lost a round as a professional. We've never seen him hit. He's really gone about business as well as he could have done given the calibre of opposition he's been in with. Never seen him lose a round. Never see him take on, painful punishment. Never seen him hurt in a fight. And seen him dispatch of opposition quickly. There's a lot to like about Anthony Joshua. However, with Anthony Joshua at present, I feel there's as many unanswered questions as there are facts. Let's look at it. Anthony Joshua's never been hit in a fight. He's never been hurt. He's never taken a shot from a powerful puncher who could actually realistically cause him damage. He's never fought someone with the genuine size of a top heavyweight. He's never fought someone who's really come to attack him. We don't know how he responds when someone puts him on his back foot. We don't know how he responds when someone gets inside on him. We don't know how he responds when he's been hit and he's been hurt. Perhaps most importantly, we don't know how he responds when he's taken a few rounds. We don't know what his stamina's like going into round 4, 5, 6, let alone rounds 10, 11 and 12. And those are pretty big questions when you look at the size of the man, the muscularity of the man. You've got to wonder what his energy levels are going to be like going into those later rounds, carrying that frame around with him and fighting with the manner he does. With Joseph Parker, we must remember he's so much younger as well. You know, he's 22 years old, a baby for a man of that size. We've seen huge improvement for him throughout his professional fights. You've got to factor that in. There's a lot of scope for Parker to still be improving at 22. Could he get even more man strength? Could he become even more powerful? I definitely think that's a distinct possibility. Both of these guys are big punchers. Arguably, Anthony Joshua has looked like a more devastating puncher because nobody's been able to take him rounds, whereas people have been able to go rounds with Parker, like Sherman Williams. But what I would say is Joshua's kind of had stoppages, like the Michael Sprott stoppage, like the Dennis Baktov stoppage, the Konstantin Aret stoppage, where he's hardly been knocking these guys out cold. You know, he's just been dominating them and the referees stopping the fight. It's unclear how that power will develop against top-level opposition. Now, with Joseph Parker, his power, to my eye, has scope to be more advanced than Joshua's. He's got one punch power. I'm not talking about him dominating opponents, breaking them down, beating them up. Look at the Nascimento fight. Look at the Costa Beta Jr. fight. I mean, he basically ends Costa Jr., who had just gone 12 rounds with the very highly rated Christian Hamer. He basically ends him with one punch. It's a chilling, devastating knockout. You know, Parker has got the ability to put guys away with one shot, to end a fight with one single punch. Clearly Joshua can hit a bit, but his opponent's getting stopped on their feet. They're being beaten up. I think there's some question over who's actually the power puncher in this fight. To me, Parker's build-up has also answered a lot more questions. He's been hit a few times. Look at the way Sherman Williams landed on him. Now, I admit that's a negative. You don't want a fighter to ever get hit. But he's proven that he can take a punch. Not at the highest level, but at A level. He's also proven, in my eyes, stamina. He's gone to distance in fights, which Joshua hasn't. He's been hurt in fights. We saw him in an early fight get badly cut, and he came back to win. Now, all of this, it depends which side of the fence you sit on. You could say Joshua's the superior fighter because he's never been badly caught. He's never been cut. He's never had to go the distance. But the way I look at it is when both of these guys step up to the top level, they're going to be asked questions. And I think Parker's build-up will allow him to face those questions more head-on than Joshua. Because with Parker, we know he can be hit. We know he can be cut. We know he can be dragged into the later rounds. And he can win. I also wonder if Parker has slightly more versatility than Joshua. You know, these are both sort of standout amateurs. They've both got good jabs. They've both got movement. They can both fight outside from range. But Parker's got devastating combinations. Devastating speed. He's got lovely hook combinations. An uppercut. He can absolutely destroy someone on the inside. He's less robotic than Joshua. I think at times he's shown slightly less discipline than Joshua. You know, he gets sucked into a war, which isn't a good thing for a heavyweight. But we must factor in his age, and I think he's got better recently. His last couple of performances have been much more professional. He's been less open defensively. He's been more focused on his boxing. I think at this stage Joseph Parker is more proven. I know he's 3 years younger, but he's had 2 more professional fights. He's proven he can go rounds, whereas there's stamina doubts over Joshua. He's proven he can take a punch, whereas there's chin doubts over Joshua. You know, he's proven he can get hurt, get cut, come on and win a fight. Joshua's never been dragged deep into that water, and I think if they fought today, that experience will stand Parker in good stead. Clearly Joshua's the bigger man. Clearly he's been steamrolling everyone. I wouldn't count Joshua out. I wouldn't predict with confidence Parker would win. But at this stage, in what I deem to be a 55-45 fight, I'd lean towards Parker. I think he's got just as many attributes, more scope for improvement given his age, and I think his build-up has shown us a real steel and toughness and will have prepared him for such a big fight. I could see Parker getting inside on Joshua, really forcing the pace, showing power, hand speed, combinations and desire that Joshua has never faced before. And I could see Parker winning in what would be an excellent fight. Clearly, if Joshua goes on and starts knocking out guys like Kevin Johnson, maybe he is the second coming of if he can knock guys like that out, we'll see. But at this stage, I'm with Joseph Parker. Let me know your thoughts. Many thanks indeed for watching.